have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world when you hit that play button. So glad you did. This is the Genesis Frequency Podcast with Dr. Cause and Effect. That's me, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you with a show that's all about personal development, professional development, leadership development, just making ourselves a better version that than the one that showed up yesterday, right? And working on that quantum leap goal achievement. We look at every area of our lives and say, "Hey, this is what's really calling me. This is where I'm noticing some longing and discontent." And we decide on a personal goal, we decide on a professional goal, and then we strategically set out to accomplish that goal. We should all be doing this. And I encourage you to have somebody by your side doing this work, whether it's with you as an individual or in your company, somebody to see the blind spots and take you through methodology that can change you at the level of behavior, because that's where we have to make the change, at the level of behavior. That's why I go by cause and effect, right? We got to look at the cause. Too many people concentrate on the effect and try to change the effect without even looking at the cause. So that's a whole nother podcast for another day. I'm just encouraging you to reach out to me at successappointment.com. We're going to dive into a brand new series here, not dissimilar from things that I talk about a lot, but based on the teachings, inspired by the work, I should say, of Dr. Joseph Murphy. And he's written many, many books. Looking at them on my shelf up here: Your Infinite Power to Be Rich, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Oh, just on and on it goes. A lot of work in the subconscious realm and how that impacts and influences what's showing up in our lives, and how we can impact and influence our subconscious mind at the level of cause, so we can intentionally really program ourselves for what we want to experience in our lives. Just fascinated with the work, so much so I used so much of his work in my master's thesis and my doctoral dissertation. So I'm excited about doing this. We're going to do a multi-part series, however long it takes to get through this. I just want to throw out there, reach out to me, successappointment.com. Just let's have a conversation about you, where you are, your work environment. Hey, even if you say I am good, for me, you could be what I call a center of influence. You know somebody, or you work for a company, or you know somebody that runs a company that I may want to be introduced to and talk to about moving this material into that company, that organization, that ministry, that nonprofit, whatever it is. I I run the gamut of different industries, because you know what? They're all made up of people, and to a certain extent, we're wired a certain way, and we think thoughts and we hold them, and we're conditioned, and we have unconscious biases, we have paradigms, a multitude of habits, and we have to we have to instigate change at a level far below what's being done out there, as we want to change behavior. So successappointment.com, if you feel like you ever get stuck in the pursuit of your own goals, or you're working in a company or know somebody, a company, an organization, a ministry that is stuck or they really need a culture shift, have them introduced to me. Make the introduction. Get on my calendar, successappointment.com. And don't forget, those of you that are regular listeners, we do have some signups. We are starting the effective personal productivity on Saturday. It's a Saturday start date of, I think it the 18th, because some people just couldn't do it on a Friday morning. So you want to get in on that. That's all about priority management. We used to call it time management, but boy, it's really about what matters most, managing our priorities and eliminating the distractions that tug and pull at us all day long. It's about improving performance, productivity, priority management, and boy, empowering teams and communication and all that stuff. So reach out. Let's have a conversation about that. Real reasonable to get into. It's a 6 to 8 week program, and we're getting going soon. So let's talk about that. So welcome back to the Genesis Frequency. Again, I am Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, and we're going to dive into this series, and I'm calling it the power within. We talk about that a lot, but we're going to look through the lens of Dr. Joseph Murphy, and and this is the foundational episode of this series. And the real foundational statement for this series is this: the world within creates the world without. And that's what I was just talking about in my little mini commercial for reaching out to me. The world within creates the world without. And I know this and I work with this every day, and some of you that listen to me regularly know this, but so many don't and are just walking around unconsciously, either as an unconscious competent or quite incompetent. They don't really realize that what shows up in their world is created within. That what shows up in their world is a conglomeration of past programming, of current thoughts wrapped in feeling and emotion, which establishes the vibration and the frequency where they operate. So, we're going to talk about all of this. This is really a profound statement if we keep it in real simple form. The world within creates the world without, the world outside of you, your experiences. Because many people, they spend most of their lives trying to manage the circumstances, as I just shared with you, trying to manage what has showed up while never examining the consciousness from which those circumstances have emerged. Dr. Murphy writes, the world within is the only creative power. Let's talk about what that really means. It means your inner life matters. Your thoughts matter. Your beliefs matter. Your self concept matters. Your self image matters. Your expectations matter. The conversations you have with yourself matter. These things are not neutral. They are formative. They are creative. They are powerful. Now, this is not blame when we move into this. This is empowerment, right? It's what most people do. They blame. I've got to find an excuse. I'm going to blame me. Blame this. I'm going to blame that. And blame that condition. Blame this. Blame, blame, blame. And we have to realize all this, because if your thought life helps shape your experience, then new thoughts can help reshape your future and have a profound impact starting right here, right now. Dr. Murphy beautifully describes the mind as a garden. And I love that. And I want you to know that these pauses that you might be hearing more of in this particular episode are to give you a little room to process, to think about this, to do some inner discernment and reflection as I go along. because I notice sometimes I get really excited about this material and I talk really fast. So I'm intentionally trying to slow myself down, even if the podcast goes a little bit longer. So let's look at the mind as a garden, because I love this. Because gardens, if you think about a garden grows whatever is planted consistently, right? And within us, every thought is a seed. Every repeated feeling is a seed. Every image, even your self image, is a seed. And eventually, life bears fruit. So let me ask you something. What have you been planting? Sometimes we don't realize how much of our life is being shaped by unconscious assumptions. Oh man, I could do a million podcasts on this, just witnessing this in my life experience. But let's look at this. We may say that we want success, for instance. We may say we want peace, healing, or abundance and prosperity. But beneath the surface, the inner conversation may be saying something very different. We may consciously desire progress while unconsciously expecting disappointment. We get what we expect. We may say we want a loving relationship while inwardly rehearsing rejection. We may desire prosperity while quietly carrying a belief that there is never enough. Lack and limitation consciousness. See it all the time, all the time. I talk to people all the time. Well, I don't even want to consider anymore. I should be in a state of lack and limitation. Anything other than that is being greedy. Wrong answer. You can do a lot of good with prosperity and abundance in your life. To model and demonstrate how it flows in. You can help a lot of people with abundance and prosperity flowing into your life and stepping into the flow. But all of this is why the inner world deserves our attention. We have to pay attention to this. This is cause and effect. This is how it works. This is law. This is not for some and maybe for others. This is at work, whether we consciously and intentionally participate with it or not. So it deserves our attention. And that's what we're doing right here and now. Dr. Murphy's work helps us understand that the subconscious mind does not argue with us. That's an important point for you to know and to understand. It's not going to argue with us. It accepts what is impressed upon it through repetition, feeling, and belief. That means the things we casually say about ourselves matter. Don't think they don't matter. Thought, word, and action, they all contribute. Even the casual things, the phrases we repeat matter. Think about what do you say over and over again? Do you ever say things like, "Man, I'm so stupid. Man, what an idiot I am." What do you say over and over again? They matter. They are creative. They are powerful. The phrases we repeat matter. The labels we accept matter. How often do people say things? Think about that. I'm always overwhelmed. I never have enough time. Getting my priority management class coming up, right? I'm always overwhelmed. Never have enough time. I'm not good with money. I'm too old to start over. Well, my time's passed me by. I always seem to struggle. We repeat those over and over and over again. And they may sound like just like harmless observations, but spiritually and psychologically, they become instructions to the deeper mind, to our subconscious mind. The subconscious begins to organize behavior, emotion, and expectation around those statements. And over time, life starts to reflect them. This is why awareness is so powerful. The moment you become aware of the inner script, the inner narrative, you regain choice. And once you regain choice, transformation then becomes possible. And that's the beauty of this teaching. That's why I love it and I get so excited about it. And I visit it often because I need the reminder. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing that again. Right? Because old habits, we gotta work on them. They'll creep back in. And this teaching is beautiful and it's law and it's how we're wired and it's true and it's not about blame, it's about freedom. It truly is. Because if old thought patterns have participated in shaping life, guess what? The new thought patterns can participate in reshaping it and delivering to us new experiences. This is where deliberate inner work begins. Not forced positivity, not denial, but conscious planting. For example, instead of rehearsing, I never have enough time, you begin planting, I am guided into right order, right timing, and right action. Just over and over and over again. Write that down. I am guided into right order, right timing, and right action. Watch it work. Test this. Prove it now in your own life experience. Instead of, I always struggle. Try planting, life supports me as I align with the truth and disciplined action. And don't just do this once. Do it over and over and over and over again. Write it down over and over and over again. When I was working live with Bob Proctor, he would have us write down our goals and what we want to experience in our lives over and over and over again, hundreds of times with our non dominant hand. Do that. You want to talk about making an impression on the subconscious mind? Wow. So instead of, let's keep going with this. Instead of I'm not enough, let's talk about that self image a little bit. You plant the divine intelligence within me, equips me for what I am called to do. That longing and discontent you may feel is because there's something higher and greater calling, pulling at you. So these are not merely affirmations, these are seeds. The positive thought, the positive statements, these are seeds. And what you water consistently, right? Because that's what we're doing, writing them down, stating them, speaking them out loud. What you water consistently will grow. Another important point Murphy's work invites us to consider is the role of imagination. And I talk a lot about imagination and visualization and all of that. Your mind does not only respond to words. Okay, so don't make the mistake. It's just the words you speak and the thoughts you think and all of that. It responds to images. Probably more so than anything else, it responds to those images. We see it in our mind first. If we can see it in our mind, we can hold it in our hand. What are you seeing inwardly in your mind's eye, using the power of your imagination? What are you seeing inwardly? When you think about the future, what mental picture appears? Do you see possibility? Do you see yourself succeeding? Do you see yourself healed? Do you see yourself thriving? Or does your mind automatically move toward fear-based images? So many do. That's why this work is so important. Because inner pictures are also seeds. And many people, maybe unknowingly, visualize failure. Oh man, I see it all the time. I've been on this weight loss journey And the first thing in all these groups on social media, different platforms I'm on because of what I utilize, the different methodologies I have lose to, and I reached my target weight. I'm in these groups and I just see it all the time. They go right to the fear based imaging. What are the side effects of that? What if I'm in a low carb, calorie deficit diet? What's going to happen? They're just fear based images over and over and over again. And those people, those are the ones that already always experience the side effects or the negative impacts in their life because that's all they think about with feeling and emotion. And these pictures, and they see it because these pictures are also seeds and they visualize failure. They imagine things going badly. And we all do that. We can all do that at certain times in our lives, or maybe we have done that, but we're aware now and we've caught ourselves doing it. Look at our professional life and in the professional world. People, they imagine the meeting going badly, or salespeople imagine rejection. Um, even leaders, executive teams imagine the plan collapsing. They're not going to work. And they stay in that energy. Patients, they imagine the diagnosis worsening, right? Well, you got this, or it could be this. And then they build in their mind a vision of what could be taking place and how it can be getting worse and worse and worse. And then it comes to be. And then they wonder why anxiety begins to dominate their body and behavior. You got to flip the script here. The mind is deeply responsive to imagery. This is why, I bring in the spiritual aspect of it. I call it spiritual integration. Spiritual vision is so important. We must become intentional about what we are holding in consciousness. So this week I want to challenge you to do two things, okay? First off, because I'm always about giving you application and action steps. There's tremendous value in these podcasts. You're not getting it all, but you're getting a lot of things that you can use in your life right here, right now. So I want to challenge you. First, listen to your inner dialogue. Just listen to it. What's going on? What's that inner narrative? What is taking place throughout your day? And second, notice your inner imagery. What are you repeatedly saying to yourself? And what are you repeatedly seeing in your mind? Because the world within is not passive, it is always generating outward effect. And the beautiful truth is this: the moment you plant new seeds, a new harvest begins. And it may not appear instantly. I used to say all the time, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. All right. It may not appear instantly, but you're planting the seed. And it begins immediately. Something's happening beneath the soil. As soon as we put that seed in the dirt below the soil and water it, something is happening. Transformation always begins in the unseen before it reveals itself in the seen, is the simplest way I can put that. And that's where faith comes in. Faith is trusting the seed before the fruit appears. I on my weight release path here. I'd step on that scale, man, nothing's happening. But I'm very disciplined. I'm not cheating at all. I'm doing the work I got to do. I'm doing the calorie deficit. I'm doing the intermittent fasting. I'm doing the cardio. I'm hitting the gym, right? Don't see it right away. But it's trusting the seed before the fruit appears. And you have to have faith. You have to hold on to the vision. You have to keep the picture in your mind of what you want to show up in your experience. So faith is continuing to plant. Let's let's use peace. Let's use some intangibles here. Faith is continuing to plant peace before you see peace. Faith is continuing to plant abundance before the evidence arrives. Faith is continuing to plant healing before the body fully responds. Faith is seeing the image of yourself, whether you're working on weight release or seeing yourself successful, seeing that in your mind's eye before there is evidence in the outer world. This is the sacred work of consciousness, and this is sacred work. You are a sacred, holy, divine being. This is the power within. So keep asking questions. Continue to know yourself, to know thyself. What thought patterns are you rehearsing daily? Remember, thought, words, and actions are all contributing to this. All of them, especially the ones wrapped in feeling and emotions. They establish our frequency and our vibration. So what thought patterns are you rehearsing daily? What assumptions are you carrying about yourself, about experiences, about situations, circumstances, temporary things, situations that are showing up? What assumptions are you carrying about money, about love, about relationships, about health, about opportunity, about prosperity and abundance? Because many people unknowingly plant fear every single day. What if it doesn't work? And then they expand on that. Then they dwell there. Then they build the narrative around all that. All this negativity. And this is way beyond positive thinking. That's not where I'm talking about here. Because we go down the road, we start down the path. What if it doesn't work? And then we start building that narrative and we start making those assumptions and we start to visualize everything that go wrong. And the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction and truth and all that. And we're building that picture. What if I fail? Doesn't work. This never works for me. I'm not ready. Those are all seeds. And those seeds will grow. And those are thought seeds too. So we can develop those. It's called train of thought for a reason. Are we getting on that train? Are we seeing that train down the tracks? Are we looking forward using the power of vision and imagination? Looking down the tracks. So I'm going to develop this thought. This never works for me. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? I always struggle. Those are all seeds. And remember, the subconscious mind grows what is planted. Dr. Murphy says every thought is a cause and every condition is an effect. This is transformational, my friends, because it means life is often reflecting patterns we have normalized internally. Think about that. That's a big word there, normalized. And I love just stuff is just dropping in for me. And I'm remembering stuff that I think I forgot. But I love when I get in this flow of inspiration. We have normalized so much of this internally. And we make it's okay. It's okay to think these thoughts. It's okay to speak these words. It's okay to take these actions. But once we realize that, everything changes. We stop living reactively. We begin living creatively. Well, no, not not this second, not this instant, but we realize we're planting the seed and we're watering the seed. So it's important to realize now this is not instant, but it is real. It is very real. A changed thought pattern changes emotional tone. Changed emotional tone changes action. Changed action changes results. And important to put in here is we're changing our behavior of thought, our behavior of words, our behavior of actions. And over time, life begins to shift. It does. It's the work I do. See it all the time. So this week, I want to invite you into an experiment. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. Notice what you say to yourself repeatedly. Notice what you expect. Notice what you expect. Are you remaining in the state of positive expectation? Notice what you fear and then begin planting consciously. All right? Because every thought, every image, every belief, every repeated emotional pattern is participating in the life you are becoming. The world within is always becoming the world without. So, sow wisely, sow those seeds wisely, sow lovingly, sow intentionally, and trust the divine law of growth because it is law. All right? It's law. Because what is planted in consciousness today can be tomorrow's transformed life. Plant peace, plant confidence, plant expectancy, plant abundance. Go down that train of thought. Plant the belief that life is responding to a higher law. The universe is going to show up and support you in this because the world within is always becoming the world without. This is where transformation begins. So, taking up a lot of time today. Hope you were good with every second of this. Go back and listen to this again and again and again and take some notes. I should be charging for this. I really should. Well, you get it when you reach out and you get me. So reach out, share this episode. It's powerful. Share this with someone. You are a center of influence. Share it with someone that you know it will hopefully make an impact on because we got to change at the level of behavior and we can do this. We can be, do, and have it all. You just have to be willing and able to do this work, to understand this, to begin planting the new seeds and understanding that it's be, do, and have. We have to transform what we are being in thought, word, and action within us. So thanks for being with me in this first episode of The Power Within. The next episode will explore the law of belief. And that's going to be very powerful. You think this was powerful, and it is. Felt really good delivering this one, but the law of belief, we're going to take a dive into this, and it's going to be really, really strong. So make sure you get it. These come out every Thursday. Don't forget, reach out, get in. There's more of this in the effective personal productivity program that we're facilitating starting on this, what is it, 18th? Yeah. So get in on that. It's inexpensive. You know, if you're still in that lack and limitation place, it's a commitment, a few hours every week, and some material to study every day and listen to, audio, workbook, that kind of thing. And we get together on Zoom every week. So get involved in that because this is where we establish the right way to establish your goals, what you want personally and professionally. We work with win-win agreements. So, I mean, this is good stuff. This is where it all starts and how we manage priorities and take our time back. So get in on that. Reach out to me, successappointment.com. Get you on my calendar. Successappointment.com is not a sales page. It's simply my calendar showing up in your time zone, wherever you are in the world. Let's have a conversation. Let's get you involved in this program. Let's get a conversation going with your organization to bring this material in there. Remember, I am not only a Procter Gallagher consultant, I have a doctorate in holistic life coaching, and I am a franchisee of Leadership Management International that's been sharing, teaching, and facilitating this material for over 65 years in leadership development, spiritual development, personal development, professional development, sales development, all of it. So reach out. I'm your guy. Let's move on from here. For now, that's going to do it. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast with me, Dr. Cause, in effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, and I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.